We live in a consumer-driven society that requires people to spend in order for it to function. Now, there's nothing wrong with buying nice things as long as you can afford it. But if you allow yourself to be suckered in by these lies I'm about to reveal, you will stay broke. So let's get started. Lie number one. The monthly payment is all that matters. It's deadly to you because it will entrap you in quicksand financially, and you'll find yourself drowning in a payment that is sucking you dry and killing your joy. Lie number two, you deserve it. You end up spending money that should have gone to another place, but because you didn't have a plan, it went to that impulse purchase, and now you've got too much month at the end of your money. Lie number three, debt is normal. It hurts you because it chips away at your discretionary income. Every dollar going out the door towards a payment is a dollar that's being stolen from your future. Lie number four, you need to keep up with everyone else. What they're not showing you is the arguments and the stress that happen when the camera goes off because they've gotten so many payments that they can't even afford to pay them, and now they're trapped, they're struggling, and they're stressed out. Lie number five, investing is only for professionals or the rich. Number one, it'll keep you from investing at all, which will lock you out of a huge wealth builder. And number two, if you do decide to invest, you'll feel like you need one of these professionals who'll suck you dry with a 1% or more fee, and you'll think, oh, that's not a lot, but at the end of the day, it leeches from you tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars that you could have kept in your own pocket. What I'm going to do this week is show you exactly what you need to do to break free from those 5 lies and make sure that you don't stay broke, but you enrich yourself financially. So now that you know what the 5 lies are, I have a question for you. Which one of them have you been particularly tricked by? I know for me, it was number one. The monthly payment is all that matters. See, when you get trained to focus on the payment, you ignore the total price, and the total price could be outrageous. I'll give you an example. When you're shopping for a car, when was the last time you saw a retailer put the purchase price of the car up? You always see commercials from Toyota, Nissan, Honda, Hyundai, focusing on what? The lease payment. That's what they want you to focus on, because if you can fit the payment into your budget every month, who cares what you're going to end up paying totally? Retailers are masters at getting you to focus on the payment, because that means that, well, you think to yourself, as long as I can fit the payment in, I'm good. And I sold cars in dealerships, and I know this to be the truth. See, there were always 2 different customers that came in. There was the troubled credit, challenged customer who may have been leveraged up the wazoo and has a bad credit score, but they say to themselves, I've got income, so I want this car. If I can just afford the payment, I don't care what the total amount is. Then there was the other customer, the educated customer. They would come in and I would talk payment to them, and they would be like, no. What's the total purchase price of the car? So you had to give them a total purchase price. And that meant that a car that's worth $30,000 at the time couldn't be sold to them for $60,000. But the person who's focusing on the payment will easily pay $60,000 for a $30,000 car because they're not thinking about the end result of all those payments. They're just thinking about surviving the payment from month to month. So what you have to do in order to overcome this is, don't ask what is the payment, ask what is the total purchase price? And you can figure that out quite easily if they don't want to give you the actual total purchase price. When they give you the payment, just multiply it by the term and you know exactly what they're asking you to pay for this thing. If it makes sense to you, go ahead and do it. But if it doesn't make sense, if you're paying multiples what the price of the object is that you're trying to buy, be it cars, furniture, solar panels, whatever the case may be, then it doesn't make sense. You need to scratch that one off and move on. The second lie, you deserve it, can be very effective. Why? Well, people want to make you think that spending money is a logical decision. Well, it's math. Well, can I afford it? Can I not afford it? I have this much money available and it costs this much. Does it make sense for me to buy it? No. Buying stuff, using your money, has always been an emotional thing. Why? Because the emotions come into play when you think to yourself, I deserve it. I work hard. I should be getting this thing right now. I've always wanted this thing. When I buy this and roll up in this car, what will the ladies say? What will my neighbors say? What will my family say? None of those questions has anything to do with math. So, in order to overcome that, you need to take a pause. Because what retailers want you to do is they want you to engage in emotional spending, in stress spending. Get caught up in your feelings. But what you need to do in order to counter that is to step back and think to yourself, do I really need this thing right now? So what you might want to employ is a 24-hour cool down period. I know that there are many times that I've used this where I went into a store and I saw something and I said, ooh, it would be so cool to have that toy, whatever it might be. It could be an electronic gadget. It could be a special edition comic book. It could be a Lego model that's remote control and have engines and all of this stuff. I like toys. That's me. Or it could be maybe a computer, something that I could justify, hey, I need this because I'll use it for work. But if I step back and give myself 24 hours to cool down, when the emotions are past, I can make a better, more informed decision. So I'm not buying on emotion, I'm buying on logic. And that is how you overcome the I deserve it lie. Lie number 3. Debt is normal. Yeah, debt is normal. But just because something is normal doesn't make it a healthy thing. I'll give you an example. 3/4 of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That would make it normal. But does that mean that it's healthy? Is this how you would choose to live your life if you had the choice? Yeah, I'll take the stress of living paycheck to paycheck. I'll take that feeling that there's never enough, that I'm just getting by, that if my job goes away, I got nothing. I got fumes in the gas tank, no reserves to run on, and I'm basically sunk at that point. So, just because everyone else is doing the debt thing doesn't mean it's a good thing. You want to be different. You want to have cash reserves, which means having an emergency fund. So, that when emergencies come along, you can actually pay for them rather than be like 60% of Americans who can't afford a $400 expense. Forget about a $1,000 emergency. Those numbers just go through the roof. So you want to be comfortable with being abnormal. Be weird. Don't be like everybody else. Here's what not being like everybody else is. You have cash in your pocket. So, when you want something badly, don't reason that debt is normal and everybody goes into debt to have this thing just so you can afford to get something that you don't have the cash for. Rather say to yourself, what means more to me? Having this thing to stroke my ego or impress other people who really don't care about me anyway and don't pay my bills? Or is peace of mind more valuable? Is the security of my family more valuable? Is feeling good and having options because I have cash in the bank more valuable than throwing myself into debt, which eats away at my life, my quality of life? Which one means more to me? I'll take the peace of mind, thank you. Lie number 4, you need to keep up with everyone else. Yeah, they call that keeping up with the Joneses back in the day when I was growing up. Nobody ever really knew who the Joneses were. They were just the people who lived next door to you. You know, the Joneses got a new car, so you had to get one. The Joneses got a new house, so you had to get one. It's this constant run on a hamster wheel of keeping up with everyone else. It was bad when I was coming up before we had the internet and social media. Now it's horrible because all you get to see on replay is the highlight reels of everyone's life. The new car, the vacation, the fancy meals at restaurants. This is what you see. What you don't see when they peel away the layers and you look behind the curtain and the wizard is exposed, you see the stress, you see the arguments, you see the empty bank account, you see the sleepless nights. All because they're in this race to impress other people and present themselves as something that they are not. I fell into that trap, if you recall in my previous stories, that when I came up, I didn't have a lot. So when I got out, I wanted to prove to the world that I was this guy, I had made it, I wasn't that broke kid anymore. It caused me to spend myself into debt and then into bankruptcy. That was painful. I don't want that for you, and it doesn't have to be your story. So, you want to live your life not on fake wealth, on a borrowed lifestyle, on leased luxury, on credit-funded vacations. This is not real. And every dollar you push out the window to fund these things is a dollar that you're stealing from your future, because it has to be paid back. It's got to come from somewhere, and it's got to come from your future income. So you're robbing yourself of future income. You're robbing your family of present-day security. And you're just taking away your peace of mind. So, don't compare yourself to the highlight reels of other people. Set your own standards. Figure out what matters to you. Live your life by those unchangeable guidelines and principles, and you will not fall victim to the need to chase after everyone else and be like them. Lie number 5. Investing is only for the pros and only for the rich. Yeah. I've had conversations, sadly, with people who believe that investing is gambling. They literally think of it as gambling. I'll never forget somebody said that to me. And so if you think that it's like gambling and gambling is foolish or immoral, let me ask you this. Where is your 401k invested? Where is your pension fund invested? Are your morals going to come into play when it's time to collect your pension or your 401k and say, no, I don't want the gambling money? No. You're going to take that money because it was invested in the stock market, which gives you the ability to have the retirement funds that you're due when it's time for you to retire. So let's just get rid of this nonsense about investing is only for the rich, it's only for pros. Let me warn you about this. The lie that is for the pros will cause you to lean on somebody who really doesn't know what they're doing. I remember when I first became a financial advisor, you had to follow company guidelines. Company guidelines dictated that this is a set of circumstances by which you sell this particular product to this person. These guidelines were kind of put into effect to protect people against being defrauded. However, they pigeonhole people and they ensure that there's a high likelihood that you'll get a product that doesn't necessarily fit you. And that's why I got out of it. And I decided to do this, to educate people, to help them to make wise decisions. Because if I can train you, educate you to make wise decisions, you don't need me to tell you what to do. Like the old saying goes, give a man a fish and you'll feed him for a day, but teach a man how to fish and he'll never go hungry again. So I'm teaching you how to fish here. I've spoken to you previously about investing. You can easily get started investing with an index fund. It is tied to the stock market or a sector of stocks, meaning an industry, tech, energy, defense, whatever the case may be. These mutual funds are a basket of stocks. That means that if one goes down, it doesn't affect the whole group. It's more difficult for an entire sector to go down than for a single stock. Single stocks will fluctuate from day to day. So don't think that you can't do this. Again, I'll remind you, last year I got an 18% gain on my S&P tied index fund. Didn't do anything special, but just kept feeding money into it on a monthly basis. Gained 18%. Will that happen every year? No. But typically the stock market returns 10% every year, so I beat the average last year. The other thing that you don't want to do is think that it's too complicated. Again, just contributing money monthly, small amounts at first as you build your muscle, and then larger amounts as you go along, can add up to hundreds of thousands of dollars when it comes time to retire. So those are the rules you should follow when it comes to investing. Don't be scared of it. Don't think that it's just for pros or rich people. Hint, hint, rich people got rich because they invested. And you can invest too if you do it simply and wisely. And don't be gambling on tips that your cousin gave you. Don't be taking the advice of your uncle who just got his financial license. Just educate yourself, pick the right funds, and start investing on your own. And you will win the investing game. I hope you found this information useful. I struggle with each one of these points. And I know that if I struggle with it, I'm the average person. Other people out there struggle with it too. That's why I started Money Hero Academy. Money Hero Academy is a place where the average person can come and they can get the basic fundamentals of personal finance down. They can master it, doing the same things that I did to teach myself, using the 5 principles of my SMART system: self-knowledge, monetary awareness, allocated spending, ready cash, and targeted credit use. These principles taught me to get control over my money. Then I use them to help my clients get control over their money. If you use these principles, I promise you they will work. But you gotta use them. Just like you gotta use the information that I just presented to you. So if you found this information useful, please use it. If you would like help implementing this information, please schedule a free strategy session with me on my website at intentionalmoneysolutions.com, where you can get your questions answered and we can come up with a plan free of charge for you and your money to get to where you want to go. Another thing you can do is join my Money Hero Academy, where we meet weekly to discuss basic money issues. Get questions answered, get strategies, get tactics, get hacks to beat the money system. You can win with money. You just have to show up and put in the work. But when you find that you start doing the work, it gets so easy, and winning with money becomes fun. And you'll find that it will ease your life and make you more peaceful, happier, and more content. When you're able to buy the things you want to buy, wear the things you want to wear, live the place where you want to live, vacation where you want to vacation, eat what you want to eat. That's the kind of lifestyle choices you want to be able to make. Those are the options you want to be able to pull when you want to. No one is coming to save you. You have to show up and be your own money hero. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you back around soon.